Hello and welcome back to Wario Land 3. Today we'll be getting the second to last crop of chests, which is quite exciting. Not got many to go. So most of these levels after this video will be finished. Apart from the golf coins. Which I keep saying there's 10 of in each level, but there's only 8. I don't know why I keep making that mistake. See, we need the door to the left here. I think I just misremembered where the wall was. I don't want to deal with these stupid frost bears. They're so annoying. At least those guys knocked us in the right direction, which is always fun. A bit further down. Because there's a room that we've seen before but couldn't do much in, but now we can. It's also got a slightly tricksy little puzzle to do as well, because now we can see these fans are here. I guess it's the apartment building's air condition. Doing it. I hope it's not winter, because these spikies are going to be very cold. This is quite a tricky little thing to pull off because you need to get the right kind of angle to get in front of these platforms. This took a few tries because I'm not very good at these kind of puzzles. You require a lot of precision in this particular section of the game. There's a lot of editing here. I kind of like that if you really take a look at how the animation works as well. It kind of looks like the back of his shirt's kind of catching the wind. Which is kind of a fun way of doing it. It's like he has filling his shirt turning into a sort of makeshift parachute, if I'm reading that correctly. So this upcoming part's quite a tricky little throw, because I'm not very good at this type of thing, which is throwing an enemy downwards. The blocks actually didn't disappear because I broke them here as well. They disappeared. There's a few weird things that went on here because I think it actually might have been that I might have broken the blocks, but what really happened was, because I save stated, it caused some weirdness. So in this game, as I've realised on this recording, if you save state and then load state on a screen with other things, sometimes those objects disappear. I learned it the hard way and that was very annoying. Those objects can include the keys and chests, which can be very bad, but they can also include the enemies. So it's kind of a bit of a roulette really. But yeah, that was a seed of growth. It makes those octopuses really big. But that's not the important aspect with those octopuses though, we have seen them in certain locations. So now we're going to see what that actually did, like in real terms. Yeah, they broke through the barriers now. They also have a unique kind of animation as well, which is nice for when they hit you, which you'll see shortly. But first let's get through all these bubbles and these little spiky fish. These bubbles are really annoying because it's really easy to accidentally get kind of caught up in them. And this was very close. Like if that animation lasted any longer, I would have ended up in the current, which would have been very annoying. And yeah, that was dangerous as well. Kind of feels like those fish are kind of like done in such a way they can never quite get you all the way to the current. It can kind of like, it seems as though the animation's timed in such a way that it might actually end at the platform. But I might just be misreading that, and this is what those guys do. I don't think you've seen anything do that, it's only ever been bosses doing that before, so that's kind of fun. But now we have an actual enemy that can do that to us as well. So yeah, these aren't really the important thing here. They get us somewhere useful, but we actually need to go all the way to the top here. This little door's going to come in quite handy. As is this little guy. Let's get our little Caterpie up here. We just need to let him come out of his Metapod form first. Come on, get your revenge. My turn! That's always quite funny, where it's just kind of like, it's a very, you're not trapped in here with me, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me kind of vibe. But those blocks are fun. And now we have another chemical. We got the blue one ages ago, but now we have the red one. So let's see what these actually do, shall we? Soften the sand. And now those blocks are out of the way. There's actually one right here, so let's just go back in and see what it was hiding. I do kind of like that all the keys are in the exterior areas. Then you have the chest, or some of the keys anyway, but then you have the chest kind of more in the central area. It makes this area kind of a fun bicycle wheel idea. Where the keys are in the spokes, and the actual chest is in the centre, at the hub. It gives it a unique kind of a structure to it. Those birds look like pandas, doesn't matter how close you get them to each other, they're never gonna mate. But yeah, I wanted to break this because I wanted to see what happens, so let's get that done, shall we? I just love their little stunned animation, it's so cute. That actually gets you through there, yeah, I cut that a little bit early by accident, sorry about that. But that gets you through the spikes, because while you're in that mode, you're kind of invincible. But here's the important part, we've got the key. So now let's head back to the hub of the bike wheel. And find where the chest is. Sometimes swimming against these currents can be kind of annoying because of the directional thing. Sometimes you just have to be kind of... You sometimes just have to be a bit zen about it and just kind of let them take you where they're going to take you. But this time we have to go all the way this way. Which is kind of tricky to get these jumps right. It's kind of a weird jump, but luckily that spike helped us out quite a lot. That could have backfired horribly. So now we need to get Fat Wario down there. But he'll only throw over our head. It won't do much good being fat up here. So let's get him down there, shall we? Yeah, the trick with throwing down is just to slightly charge it and then release. But it is tricky to get it right. It seems no matter how many times I try, I always screw it up. So yeah, you can't quite work on that arc, so we'll have to get him actually up there. I do love those little guys, so that was why they were one of my first little Blender models, because they're just so cute. I love their little round bodies and their little forks. So that quest doesn't do anything, it's just one of 4 quests as Harvey playing card suits. We'll get a good look at these treasures once we've got them all though. I'll go to the treasure screen once it's full. So we've glanced at it, but not really understood it. It seems a little bit annoying you have to break all these blocks one by one, which is just tiring. Because they're thick blocks, you can't just charge right through them all like you can with the thinner blocks. And I'm going to do it in both directions because this area is a bit of a maze, so doing it in both directions is helpful because it gives us both entrances to the maze. It's a cool little maze though. And one thing I quite like is because it's got these guys, you can't really lose that much you can't really lose that much progress because he will only go as far as one of those little walls, and you can't go through the walls like you can in other mazes. So there's no way an enemy can send you all the way back up to the top of the room. So this maze is actually a lot easier than a lot of earlier mazes in this game, which is weird. You think it'd be the other way around. But it isn't. It really is just the game sometimes seems to just randomly get a lot easier. But then again, just getting here was a huge pain. There was so much we needed to do to even get this far in the game. So many chests. Dozens. Got quite lucky in this maze though, because I didn't really make that many wrong turns. So where we need to go is to that little door. This part's a little bit rude. I got appled. So close to the chest, that was just spiteful, that apple. A very rude little apple indeed. It wasn't even that much of an obstacle, it just got to the chest a bit sooner. That was just purely out of spite. Now this looks like a baseball glove, but it's actually an emerald. Yeah, it can get a little bit confusing finding which level you're trying to find because they're all kind of out of order at this point. Because they kind of unlock in weird orders at this point, it makes it easy to accidentally kind of go, oh, was it this way or was it this one that was the next one? It can be a little bit disorienting. It's generally a problem I have with this game's endgame stuff. Like in these last few videos, it's been very confusing trying to find where you haven't gone and where you haven't got stuff. Which is a bit of a problem really, because the temple can no longer help us. It hasn't been able to help us for a long time. We'll see why soon enough, but for now, just bear with me, just bear that in mind. But we have also one of those rather annoying things here where we have to get these guys up on these little thin platforms so we can bounce off them. Which I always hate these kind of puzzles because they're so frustrating because it's so easy to accidentally knock them either into each other or completely off the platform. It's just so difficult to do these. They're so fiddly, and then if one falls off the platform, it kind of starts the whole thing all over again. And it's so easy to accidentally undo your progress. It's such an annoying type of platforming puzzle. It's cool it's there because, of course, it's a game teaching you, basically making you really good at every aspect of it. It's just I'm not very good at this aspect of this. The danger as well is sometimes if your head moves into each other in the wrong way, they can kill each other as well, which is going to completely kill the puzzle. Of course, that only really happens if you actually release the enemy. But here we are. The worst part, of course, is if you screw up a late part of this puzzle and have to do this first bit all over again. So I figured I'd just bully him a little bit by completely failing to let go of him. Yeah, save states were needed here as well, because this is an annoying room. I had to redo this room so many times. Then this little throw is quite difficult to get right. And of course now we have to bounce off him to get up here as well. And the rest of it is actually relatively easy if you don't lose patience and screw up. We also have a rather unique little puzzle here as well, where before we have to stop the way being crushed by these guys, but this time we actually have to stand on them, which is cool. I don't think we've ever really had to do that before, that I remember. And it's a cool little kind of mechanical thing to play with, like now that these things are actually platforms in that level. That's a fun idea, that. Now, of course, we need to be flat Wario so we can get somewhere new. That could have been dangerous. Have to be very careful in those kind of situations not to accidentally jump off the edge and look like an idiot. It's going to take so long. You have to go all the way back down if that happened there as well. To that little claw thing at the bottom, and that would be a huge pain. So it would make you have to go through the entire rest of the room again. And of course, here, the chest despawned a few times because of the save state, which was a huge pain. So yeah, save stating in Wario 3, not a good idea. Now I have a pair of scissors. Apparently strong enough to cut through chain. So now, of course, it's time to go to above the clouds. Of course, the first thing we're going to do is this golf game. Because now it's actually going to be useful. The game got kind of nice to me on this one and gave me this relatively easy course after a few failed attempts, which is nice of it. But now we have to find the balloon, which is kind of annoying because we have to go all the way to the top. It doesn't stop at any of these clouds. In fact, where it does stop is actually a little bit arbitrary, but we'll see that. But yeah, these fading in and out clouds always give me trouble. I always get kind of psyched out by the timing. Even though I've done it multiple times by now, it just always gets me. Especially when I haven't played the game for a while. Yeah, I forgot to turn off the mouse cursor, sorry about that. So now we have to go all the way up this section of the game as well. So more clouds, but at least this time we have this little base layer thing. Which is very annoying if you miss. So let's try not to miss, shall we? Because that happens. If that happened any further to the right, that would have sucked. Or up to the left, rather. Yeah, there is a reason I'm showing these paths every time we go through them. It's because often it's been such a long time since we've been into these levels. There's a good chance you may have forgotten how the path goes. This is just kind of me refreshing both of our memories, really. Just so you can kind of connect the dots and stuff. Because it's always annoying when you kind of like go back to a, well, yeah, there it barely catches on the cloud, but it still feels kind of arbitrary. So now we actually need to be Zombie Wario for a while, and this is actually quite a fun little puzzle. well, not really a puzzle, but it's quite satisfying. Because the reason to be Zombie Wario is so that these birds are just bounce off you. It's a satisfying little section, really. But we also need to go under these. I mean, there's no real challenge here at all. It's the simplest of puzzles, but it's just so satisfying to do this. It makes the birds look like complete idiots. Because there's such irritating enemies, especially in the swamp level where they can make you dizzy, Wario, which really is annoying. So it's nice to be able to just deal with them by not having to deal with them. Appropriately, being the green zombie gives us the green key. So now it's time to actually go through that little golf game though. The fact that these things only kind of stun you is a godsend compared to what these guys do. But luckily the entrance also, it's daytime, so the entrance has a little light shaft coming through it. Now we have a jackhammer. I don't know how many more treasures there are that actually have an effect. I think this might be almost all of them now. But I don't want to say that for certain in case there's still a couple more. It's kind of fun though that you get different updrafts with different, like, they do have a similar effect but in different ways. I quite like that. Like, different areas still have like multiple different updrafts with all kind of the same basic effect. But the way they present the updrafts is different, and I find that quite fun. But yeah, this is what I mean by it can get a little bit confusing about like which level's which at times. Because there are so many levels and so many chests, it's very easy to get all mixed up. But for this chest we actually need to go out of the hole. Which is where? And long. Because it is a colossal hole. As the game states. It's not bluffing when it says the hole is colossal. I do like the ceiling off screen there. It gives the hole a real feeling of being big, but now we have a very fun little idea, which is using these fire snakes. There's actually a bit of a trick to these snakes, which they seem like they'd be a huge pain because of the fact that they can set you on fire, but if you're in certain situations, it's actually harmless. If you're to the right, or to the other side of them, or if you're on top of their head, their fire can't do anything. Which is very useful to know, because it means you can take your time with them. As you can see here as well, if you're not directly in their fire, it won't set you on fire. But because this is quite a tricky jump to make as well. I do like this section of using the fire snakes to get up there. It's a fun idea, that. They're quite like even this late in the game, they're still finding new ways of playing with the mechanics. So I can get out of this system before we move on to the next section of the level, of the puzzle rather. There we are. The last chest of the level. Of the video, rather. Oh, and the level. A little locomotive. Doesn't do anything, but it's nice to have. So I'll see you next time as we get the final 8 or so chests in the game. That'll be fun. We'll have all the chests, then it'll be time to do the keys. The coins, rather. So I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and check out my Patreon as well. Speaking of, thank you to James Rossi for supporting me on Patreon.